Good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome you all here to the Prog Monster. My name is Murph, and I am the host of this show. So I've been off today, kind of sick actually. Had a massive migraine, woke me at 2 in the morning, and so my day was kind of thrown into a tizzy. But I feel much better now. It's almost 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the evening, and we're going to be doing the mini series that Ben has come out with, which is album runs, or who had the better album run. Sorry, and I'm tongue tied there for a second. So the combatants today are the Beatles and Led Zeppelin. So obviously he chose these two because most people consider these to be the number 1 and 2 bands in history, depending on what side of the aisle you're on. Will depend on which one you think is number 1. I have my definite opinion here, and many people have challenged me on it, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. But over the years, their challenges have not really reduced my opinion, although I do see their point. So at any rate, we're going to talk about an 8-album run this time, starting for the Beatles with this album, Rubber Soul, released back in 1966, 65. I think it was 65, actually. Doesn't say, but I'm pretty sure it was 65. Really good album, solid. Great cover on it, of course. Kind of the beginning of that psychedelic era for them. Still some pop elements in this album. They still got relatively short, long hair, whatever you want to call it. They got that Beatle look going on here. No hair on the face or anything like that. So they still have that early Beatles look a bit. But the music has started to change, as the Who would say. Norwegian Wood, fantastic track on here. Nowhere Man, one of my favorite tracks by the Beatles altogether. And then just some really good stuff on here. Girl, Michelle is on here. You won't see me now. Just really quite, typical Beatles album. Lots of good stuff, but not as poppy as their previous albums. So they've begun that transition to that psychedelic, which will come up shortly. This one is the next one up, Revolver, 1966, I believe. Taxman, great song. This has 14 tracks on it. This is one of the stronger Beatle albums, and in fact, it's the only one for me that's a masterpiece. It's my favorite. Eleanor Rigby, of course. One of the most memorable songs, I think, out there by them. I'm just looking at Yellow Submarine is on here. A Ringo Starr vocal song, of course, really good. Good Day Sunshine, pretty decent too. Dr. Roberts, one of my favorites off of this as well. And the final track on the album, Tomorrow Never Knows. This is a strong, strong song. It's probably my favorite Beatles song, period. Next up, they move full on into the psychedelia now with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, I guess you would call this a soundtrack for the movie, Sgt. Pepper's. It has some really classic Beatles songs on here. Of course, the title track itself, which it opens up the album, which is the way it should be, coincidentally. With a little help from my friends, another great track. This was early on in my history, my favorite Beatles song. Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, another fantastic psychedelic track by them. And there's quite a bit of other stuff on here that's quite good too. But definitely a great album from 1967. Now, the other album from 1967 was an American release, not originally released in the US, in which they put some songs on here that weren't a lot of B-sides, a lot of stuff that hadn't been put on an album before, specifically for the American audience. This is the Magical Mystery Tour. Another very psychedelic album. This one has some of my favorite stuff on there for the Beatles as well. Fool on the Hill, another great track. I Am a Walrus was after I kind of left with a little help from my friends behind. This became my favorite Beatles song for a while. I Am a Walrus. Strawberry Fields Forever, another great song. A song that was, of course, released as a single. Baby, you're a rich man. Baby, you're a rich man. You love it. All You Need Is Love, one of the great tracks by them. And, of course, Penny Lane is on here, too. Not a song that I like that much, but I know it's a very well-liked song. So there you go. Magical Mystery Tour from the Beatles. The fourth one in the run. The fifth one in the run is an album that I'm only now beginning to get into. Lots of stuff on here. It's a double album, the White Album, of course. You can't really see too much here. There's the Beatle name on it. Lots of good stuff on here. Back in the USSR. Obla Di Blo, Obla Da, but that is also on, I believe, Rubber Soul. Don't get me wrong, but some of this stuff is kind of different takes on it. Rocky Raccoon, great tune. This one's lots of Helter Skelters on here. Revolutions 1 and 9. Yeah, just some really good stuff. There's a little bit of a documentary at the end of this one too, which is quite good. So this is the Beatles' White Album. I like it a lot too. Next up is maybe the Beatles' worst album in this run, Yellow Submarine, which is basically a soundtrack for the cartoon movie. I believe it was released in '69. Not really much on here worth rating. All You Need to Love is on here, but also there's a lot of stuff that they've covered. These are all the covers. But there's also a lot of stuff that is, I guess, the movie-related tracks that are kind of don't make much sense when you're actually just listening to the album. You need to see the movie. Maybe that'd have more impact. But it does have All You Need Is Love and Yellow Submarine on it, so it's not a complete dud, but it's definitely not one of their stronger albums. Next up is arguably one of my 2 or 3 favorite albums. This one, of course, I don't have a cover for. I lost it when I bought the album. This is the Beatles' Abbey Road, and one of the most legendary covers as well, so it's not a good one to be losing. So this has Come Together, Maxwell Silver Hammer, which is one of my favorite of their tunes, Octopus's Garden, another Ringo Starr vocal song, pretty good. I Want You, She's So Heavy, pretty funny track, actually. Here Comes the Sun. Yeah, definitely one of my favorite Beatles tracks, top 5, top 10 anyways, for sure. The rest of the stuff is okay. There's nothing bad on the rest of it. That's just, to me, the top stuff on it. So this is a really good album as well. And then their final album in this run, number 8, number 12 in their history, but number 8 for this run. This is the Let It Be album. Great cover on it. Like it. It changed a lot here. Right? 2 of Us is on here. Pretty decent. Across the Universe is also pretty good. Let It Be's okay. I don't mind that. I've Got a Feeling. Yeah, I like that. That's one of the better tracks on this album. And then you got Long and Winding Road, which is, of course, a classic. The rest of the stuff is okay. This, to me, is one of their weaker albums. It's not one of my favorite of their albums, but it's part of the run, so we're talking about it. So that's my Beatles 8-album run here. Rubber Soul, the Beatles, Revolver, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band, Magical Mystery Tour, the White Album, Yellow Submarine, Abbey Road without a cover, and Let It Be. So that's the album run he gave me, and they're up against Led Zeppelin. So Led Zeppelin came out with this 1969. This is the first in the run. Not one of my favorite Led Zeppelin albums, but still pretty solid. I have this down as a 1, so pretty good. The beginning of a solid run of albums. Good Times, Bad Times, and Communication Breakdown are kind of the pop commercial sounding hits for the album, but there's a lot of other good stuff on here. You Shook Me, Dazed and Confused, Black Mountain Side, really good. How Many More Times, I Can't Quit You, Baby, Baby, I'm Gonna Leave You. This is pretty strong album. I wouldn't classify it as a masterpiece at this stage of my history, but still a pretty solid album. I got some of these out of whack here. So let's try that again. Number 2, Led Zeppelin 2, released in the same year, I believe, 1970. First of 2 from that year. A lot of really good stuff. For a long period of time, this was my go-to Led Zeppelin album early on in my Led Zeppelin career. It's got a whole lot of love. A lot of these songs are, unbeknownst to me until many years later, cover tracks of other and stolen melodies from other people as well. The Lemon Song, fantastic tune. Thank You's good. Heartbreaker and Living Loving Maid, nice combo there. Often thought of them as going together. You got Ramble On, which is to me the best track on the album. My favorite track, though, was probably Bring It On Home, which is the final track. So it wasn't a song I listened to much early on, but I do kind of like it quite a bit more now. Moby Dick's okay, but I'm not a big drum person that way as far as drum solos go. Next up is probably my favorite in the Led Zeppelin discography, the only one that's considered a masterpiece to me, and that's Led Zeppelin 3. It's a lot of quirky stuff going on the cover here. I like just about everything on here. Starts out with the Immigrant Song, really heavy. The beginnings of heavy metal, maybe, I don't know. Celebration Day, really good. Since I've Been Loving You, another really good, lengthy track too, really, actually. Out of the Tiles is really good too. Gallows Pole, maybe the best track on the album. Tangerine, I love that one. That's the Way, I like this one a lot. The Boneyard Stomp, really good. And Hats Off to Roy Harper, maybe the weakest tune on the album, but still pretty strong. I like this album a lot. That's Led Zeppelin 3. Led Zeppelin 4 is probably the most well-known of all of their all of their albums. Not a bad track on this. Some of them have really been overplayed over the years, and so I don't care to hear them anymore. Songs like Stairway to Heaven, Rock and Roll, maybe even a little bit of Misty Mountain Hop have been, to me, overplayed. Although I did like all 3 of them. I'm not taking anything away from them. I just overplayed. Black Dog, never can play that enough. It's great tune, one of their best. Four Sticks I like. Going to California I like. And When the Levee Breaks, underrated, heavy track. This is a heavy album. High One probably should be a masterpiece. Probably will be a masterpiece at some point. That's the 4th album in the run. The 5th album in the run, Houses of the Holy. Yeah, pretty strong album. This has The Song Remains the Same on it. The Rain Song, quite good. Over the Hills and Far Away, I like. The Crunge, absolutely killer track. Dancing Days, love this song. It's catchy as hell. Do You Maker, it's okay. It's not a bad song, just a little bit different. And then you got No Quarter in the Ocean to end it off. It's a very strong album, and also a number 1. Next up, the number 6 album in the run, I believe, is Physical Graffiti. This is a double album, much like the White Album would be with the Beatles. Pretty strong album, though. The front disc is, to me, as good a side of any Led Zeppelin album as there is. Custard's Pie, The Rover, In My Time of Dying, Houses of the Holy, which is kind of weird that it's on this album, but that's the way it is. Trampled Underfoot is good, and the big epic song, Kashmir. Really solid first album. The second album, maybe not as good. Does have some stuff on here that's interesting. The Wonton Song, Black Country Woman is okay. In the Light and Boneyard are all decent side. Down by the Seaside, like it's not a bad album. It's just a little bit lengthy for me. If they could have cut some of the tracks out and made it one album, it might be the best album they've made for me, anyways. And the number 7 album in the run. This is this is The Presence. So this has Achilles' Last Stand, one of the epic length songs by Led Zeppelin, and probably the best epic length song by them. Maybe one of their top 2 or 3 songs. This is a strong, strong song. The rest of the album is okay, but there's some forgettables on here too. So this is a decent album. I wouldn't call it a 1, or even, it's not a masterpiece or a 1. And I think it makes it 2s, but it's low on the 2 edge. The final album in the list that he gave me was The Song Remains the Same album. This is a concert documentary type video. I've never been a person who likes documentary type videos or any kind of rock video kind of documentaries or movies on rock artists or anything. I can't even think of one that I like, really. And some people say, oh, what about the Queen one? Nah, you couldn't take that one either. So I'm just not a big fan of that. I think it goes back to my days with Kiss Meets the Phantom. Huge disappointment, and has kind of clouded my vision on those things. I do like the concerts, don't get me wrong. I'm just not a big fan of the documentaries or of the movies. So I don't really have too much to say about The Song Remains the Same because I've never watched it, or at least not in its entirety. I've watched bits and pieces of it. I've never thought of Led Zeppelin as being particularly good live. I'm a Who fan, and they just don't measure up in that era for me. So musically, they're fantastic and probably my favorite band as far as their total discography, as far as what I think of as being the best band in the world. They're not my favorite band by any stretch, but definitely one of my favorite bands that I think is the best in the world, and I still think that. So I had to choose between the discographies, which two. This is a bit of a lengthy video because of the number of videos, albums here in the 8. So it's an 8 album run. Is it Led Zeppelin, or is it going to be, actually I should tell you the albums again because I did that for the Beatles. So we have Led Zeppelin 1, Led Zeppelin 2, Led Zeppelin 3, Led Zeppelin 4, Houses of the Holy, Physical Graffiti, same building that they used, I think, for the Who's Meaty Beaty Big and Bouncy, I think. Or actually, maybe it wasn't. It was for one of the Rolling Stones albums. I take that back. And Presence, and of course, The Song Remains the Same. So which one of these discography was better? Well, the Beatles discography is strong, but it does have a couple of weak sisters in there and a couple of albums that I don't think are very good. Led Zeppelin really only has the documentary at the end that I don't really like. The rest of them are either ones or a masterpiece. There's one album in there, The Presence, might be like a 2. So for me, Zeppelin wins this fairly easily. I don't think it's close, although I know there's a lot of people out there are going to argue blue in the face with me about it. That's fine. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Everybody can come here and say what they think, and that is perfectly fine. Nobody gets canceled because they say something I don't like. That's the way it is. So anyways, that's my take on who did it better. Led Zeppelin, I think, did it better. So we will be back next week with another Who Did It Better album runs, and we will see you all then. Take care. Have yourself a good evening, and goodbye.